Did you know that our brains are wired for survival and not to make us happy? This means that it will always take the path of least resistance in order to conserve energy. What this means for those of us with social anxiety is that if we have unhelpful beliefs that have not served us well in the past, then our brains will continue to search for evidence to support these. In this video, I will show you the number one way that our brain continues to do this and tricks us into keeping the vicious cycle of social anxiety going. Hey, I'm Neil and I struggled with social anxiety for more than 2 decades. On this channel, every week, I'll be bringing you the best methods and strategies that I've used in my own life to feel more confident. The neural pathways in our brain operate on the principle of survival of the busiest. What this means is that if we keep on repeating the same patterns over and over again, the same habits, then these are likely to be most easily activated again in the future. Our brains will always opt for the pathway of least resistance. They'll think, well, this has kept me alive until now, so let's keep on doing it. And this means that we don't tend to look at new social situations in an unbiased manner. Our brains will often take shortcuts when it comes to thinking about things like social outcomes, and it will lead to conclusions that are not usually completely accurate. And this has been created often by many years of worrying and ruminating that have led us to develop these deeply grooved pathways in our brains that lead us to have quite a strong negative bias. Over our life, we may have developed some negative core beliefs about ourselves, and these were likely formed at quite a young age, and they shape how we interpret the world around us. Examples of some of these core beliefs are things like, I am unlovable, the world is a dangerous place, and that I must be perfect. These core beliefs can then lead to cognitive distortions which will keep this negative bias going. As conscious beings, we're always trying to interpret what is going on around us in the world. As our brains process what's going on, these cognitive distortions can happen automatically without us even being aware of it. So unless we actually begin to notice them, they can have a negative continuous effect on our mood and on our lives. Possibly the most damaging cognitive distortion of all for those of us with social anxiety is the mental filter. And this is where we dwell on all the little negative things that we notice in a social situation and automatically ignore all the positives. And then we end up perceiving the entire situation as a negative experience, even if it might have been overwhelmingly positive, because our mind is just filtering for the negative and completely disregards anything good that actually happens. Say that we have the core belief that I am unlovable, and that the mental filter might make us think that people look bored when we talk to them, or that we never have anything interesting to say. You might occasionally get some strong positive feedback, where you hear that people say that they enjoy meeting you and that they enjoy talking to you, but this doesn't fit your cognitive distortion, your mental filter, and so instead, this gets rejected and your brain turns it into something like, but these people were just being polite instead, so that it fits your current set of beliefs. Because we interpret events like this is one of the main ways that our brains manage to keep us stuck feeling socially anxious all of the time and constantly seeing social events as a threat. So what if instead we manage to change our core belief to most people tend to actually like me? The old automatic negative thoughts that we had of people look bored when I'm speaking to them, or that we never have anything interesting to say, actually now these don't fit the filter and these get rejected because we actually have little or no evidence that actually supports this, so it doesn't feed and fuel our existing social anxiety. And when we get positive feedback and compliments like people enjoyed talking to us or people enjoyed meeting us, then there is no longer this resistance, and our brain will accept this because it fits what it's actually looking for. It's looking for positive evidence this time, rather than just focusing on any negative information that it thinks it can find. Thankfully, the good news is that our brains can rewire and change themselves. Psychiatrist and author of The Brain That Changes Itself, Norman Doidge, said that knowing that our brains can rewire and change themselves even into old age is the biggest breakthrough on the brain in 400 years. Thanks to neuroplasticity, our brains are able to rearrange pathways, forge new connections, and in some cases even create new neurons, and this helps our brains adapt to the ever-changing environment. What this means is that no matter what age you are, your brain has the power to create new connections and pathways that can lead you to feeling peace and relaxation instead of all these anxiety-ridden pathways that you may have experienced for many, many years. To start getting better, we need to begin to disrupt the old firing and wiring of the brain's neural pathways that have led us to feel anxious, and we do this by responding differently to how we have done to situations that have caused us anxiety in the past. One very common way to do this is by using cognitive restructuring techniques to begin to look at and try and change our negative self-talk that we've been likely doing to ourselves for many, many years, perhaps without even realizing it. Every time you use one of these cognitive strategies to deal with anxiety, you are interfering with these old connections and gradually creating new ones. So in the case of cognitive restructuring, when you catch and try and change your negative thoughts, it's good to start by going more neutral rather than positive to begin with, because studies have shown that going positive can be a leap too far at the beginning. In the case of trying to grow a new core belief, if we try and go from something like I am unlovable to I am amazing and everybody loves me, then that's going to be a bit of a leap too far for our brains to accept. And as soon as some evidence comes along that contradicts this new belief we're trying to create, then the whole thing's just going to fall apart. I go into more detail about these in other videos I've created as well, which I'll put down in the description. Our brain's neural pathways will begin to change as a result of this interference, and then over time these new pathways will form, and eventually the more we do it, as they get stronger and stronger, then these will begin to become the default pathways that our brains use instead of the old anxiety-ridden ones that we've had for so long in the past. As a result of all this, it means that upcoming social situations like giving presentations or going to parties and things like that will begin to cause us less and less anxiety over time as we begin to grow these new core beliefs and to put things into perspective. If you'd like to take big steps towards overcoming social anxiety, then I run weekly online group sessions where you can practice being confident in a safe environment and gently ease your way out of your comfort zone. I'll put the link down in the description. If you want to watch more, then click here to see my latest video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this content valuable, then please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.